Hey, Jimmy, what are you doing?
I'm packing.
Packing. Are you going on vacation?
No, I'm not going on vacation. I'm leaving the country.
Why are you leaving the country?
I can't stay for another 4 years of this. Who knows what he's gonna do?
Jim, I'm sorry. You're fired. Get out of here.
Jimmy Kimmel canceled. Disney pulling the plug. Charlie Kirk's name at the center of it all. That's the headline drawing everyone's attention right now. But headlines are easy. The details behind them are complicated, messy, and far more revealing than a single shocking phrase. If you've been following the ripple effects of this story, you'll know it isn't just about one late-night host making a controversial statement. It's about the ways entertainment, politics, and public outrage collide in America, and what happens when that collision finally becomes too explosive for even a giant like Disney to ignore. So, let's start at the very beginning, before the shockwaves.
MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Jimmy Kimmel has been one of the most visible faces in late-night television for years, a comedian-turned-host who leaned heavily into political commentary during the Trump era. From jokes about the former president to sweeping condemnations of those who supported him, Kimmel's monologues often went beyond humor, blurring into sharp political rhetoric. For his fans, it was refreshing, someone speaking truth to power with no apologies. For his critics, it was exhausting, divisive, and at times outright hostile. And it wasn't just Kimmel. The entire late-night landscape had shifted in that direction, with Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, and others following a similar script. Politics had become comedy, and comedy had become politics. The trouble now, however, is that one particular comment may have gone too far. The chain reaction began with the tragic assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk, known for his campus debates and outspoken style, had been both admired and criticized across the political spectrum. His death was sudden, shocking, and immediately polarizing. Early reporting on the shooter was chaotic, with speculation running wild about motives and affiliations. Some media outlets rushed to connect the killer to MAGA. Others urged caution. But within days, the picture became clearer. The shooter had no connection to Trump's base, but rather an affiliation with radical left-wing groups. This is where Jimmy Kimmel stepped in. During a monologue, he leaned into the already debunked framing, accusing conservatives of trying to twist the narrative to score political points.
MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
To his critics, this wasn't just a misstep, it was a deliberate attempt to mislead. Kimmel, they argue, knew the facts had shifted but chose to push an angle anyway. For a late-night comedian, exaggeration is par for the course. For a network television host commenting on a political assassination, it struck many as far more sinister.
It's happening. Jimmy Kimmel has been muzzled and taken off the air by his network ABC, who are buckling to and trying to appease the Nexstar media conglomerate, who have a lot of affiliates, and they threaten to preempt him at the suggestion of the SEC chair. This is government censorship.
Many assumed Disney-owned ABC, which airs Jimmy Kimmel Live, would weather the storm as they had so many times before. But this time, something different happened. It started with the FCC. During an interview with Benny Johnson, the commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission was asked whether Kimmel's comments might rise to the level of news distortion. While careful not to prejudge, the commissioner acknowledged that one could make a strong case that Kimmel's words were misleading on a fundamental matter. That statement didn't sound like much at first, but in the world of broadcast regulation, even the hint of a possible violation is a big deal. Suddenly, Disney had more to worry about than just bad press. Then came the bigger blow. Nexstar Media Group, one of the largest owners of local television stations in the U.S., announced that its ABC affiliates would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future.
I was supposed to go over and have a chat with my friend Jimmy Kimmel on his show, but as you have heard by now, the Jimmy Kimmel show has been pulled indefinitely, abruptly, because of complaints from the Trump administration. So let's see. He didn't end the Ukraine war or solve Gaza within his first week, but he did end freedom of speech.
That meant dozens of markets, millions of potential viewers, would no longer see a show. Their statement was blunt, saying Kimmel's comments about Kirk's death were offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse. This wasn't just one critic on Twitter. This was a powerful affiliate partner taking a public stand against one of ABC's marquee programs. The dominoes fell quickly from there. Variety confirmed that Disney had suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely. What had once seemed unthinkable, a network actually pulling one of its late-night stars, was now reality.
Disney and the ABC network are taking Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air in Disney and the ABC network are taking Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late-night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination.
The Hollywood Reporter revealed that Kimmel had been preparing to address the controversy on air, planning to clarify his remarks, but not apologize. Whether that would have helped or hurt, we'll never know. The show was pulled before he got the chance. At this point, the debate shifted from what Kimmel had said to what his punishment meant. Was this an example of cancel culture going too far, silencing a comedian for political speech? Or was it accountability for spreading misinformation about a man's death? Both sides quickly took their corners. Some argued that Kimmel was simply doing what late-night hosts have always done, mixing satire with political commentary, and that punishing him for it threatened free expression. Others insisted that using a fresh tragedy to push a false narrative was beyond the bounds of comedy or free speech, especially for someone with the platform of a national network show.
Well, it's troubling to say the least, and we all have to really take a moment and figure out how we feel about this type of thing, especially, you know, people doing what you do. But I imagine there's plenty of conversations going on to do something, because you just can't stand by and let stuff like that go on.
Stuff like?
Well, Jimmy getting his show pulled for, you know, freedom of speech.
Adding fuel to the fire was Kimmel's own history. Critics dredged up old clips of him mocking unvaccinated people during the pandemic, making jokes about whether they deserved hospital care. To his detractors, this was a pattern, a man quick to mock, slow to empathize, and often dismissive of those who disagreed with him. For his supporters, it was just Jimmy being Jimmy, a comic with a sharp tongue who wasn't afraid to say what others wouldn't. And it's not just late-night television that has been caught in the middle of this double standard. If you really want to see the depths of media hypocrisy, look no further than The View. For years, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Whoopi Goldberg have sat at that table and hurled insults, conspiracy theories, and downright inflammatory rhetoric at half the country without ever facing the kind of consequences Jimmy Kimmel is dealing with right now. Sunny Hostin has labeled conservatives and Trump supporters in ways that go far beyond critique, painting them as dangerous extremists while excusing or downplaying violence that doesn't fit her narrative. Joy Behar has made a career out of mocking faith, mocking everyday Americans, and reducing real issues to cheap applause lines. And then there's Whoopi Goldberg, who seems untouchable no matter how reckless her comments become. From minimizing historical atrocities to taking every possible opportunity to vilify Republicans, she embodies the arrogance of media figures who believe they can say anything without accountability. The difference is glaring. Kimmel makes one false statement about Charlie Kirk, and suddenly Disney is scrambling, affiliates are pulling the plug, and his entire career is on the line. Yet the panelists on The View churn out daily outrage, often crossing lines of decency and accuracy, and ABC keeps their seats warm, their microphones on, and their platform intact. It raises an obvious question. Why is one voice punished while others are protected? Why is Kimmel suspended, but Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny remain untouchable despite years of equally divisive rhetoric? This isn't about free speech. It's about selective enforcement. It's about deciding whose words are dangerous and whose words are Acceptable based not on truth, but on political convenience. And if that doesn't show you how broken and biased the media system is, nothing will. Disney, meanwhile, faced its own dilemma. The company has been accused from both left and right of picking and choosing when to enforce its standards. Was Kimmel's suspension a long overdue balancing of the scales? Or was it, as some suggested, simply a convenient excuse for Disney to cut ties with a show that was expensive and perhaps no longer profitable? If late night was bleeding money, Kimmel's controversy might have offered Disney the perfect cover to pull the plug. Through it all, one fact remained. Charlie Kirk was dead, and his death was not a punchline. Many conservatives were less angry about Kimmel's words than they were about the tone of celebration and mockery that seemed to spread online after the news broke. Dancing on someone's grave, they argued, was cruel no matter your politics. Criticizing Kirk's ideas was one thing. Laughing at his murder was another. And when Kimmel's monologue seemed to feed into that atmosphere, it crossed a line for many viewers who might otherwise have brushed it off as another edgy late-night bit. Kimmel himself reportedly felt he had nothing to apologize for, believing his words had been misinterpreted. Whether or not that was true, the decision was no longer in his hands. Disney suspended him. Affiliates dropped him. And his future in late-night television, once considered untouchable, suddenly looked uncertain. The larger implications are harder to parse. If comedians are punished for controversial jokes, does that chill free expression? Or does it force a necessary reckoning about the responsibility that comes with a platform that reaches millions? Is Kimmel's suspension a unique response to a uniquely insensitive comment, or the start of a broader shift in how networks handle political satire? These questions don't have easy answers, but they reflect the fault lines running through American media today. For now, the fact is simple. Jimmy Kimmel's show has been canceled indefinitely. Whether he returns in weeks, months, or never remains to be seen. What's clear is that this episode will be remembered not just as a controversy for one man, but as another flashpoint in the ongoing culture wars. And in those wars, every misstep, every word, every joke carries consequences far beyond